Good afternoon, John. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Shawn. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome, man. I'm awesome. John, pronounce your last name for me.
Holiday.
Holiday. Holiday.
Yeah.
So thanks, man. John Holiday. Welcome to Lending with Purpose. John, these are conversations that we have with our clients and our friends, introductions to various forms of information, professionals like yourself, resources that we use, we look for, never knew existed or wanted to learn more about. And so today I was thinking, so John, I'll tell you that I try to always start with some sort of a story or did you know, because I'm in the mortgage industry and the show is obviously called Lending with Purpose. But today I thought about, I really thought about three things. Number one was home ownership. I'm going to write these down so I remember them, right? Golf and relationships. So back in 2005, when I first entered the business, one of my very first clients, actually, I think they were my first client and, dear friends of mine right now. I showed up to closing. They were closing on their first home, boyfriend and girlfriend or fiancés at the time. And I get to the closing and I walk in and I'm just greeting everyone. How's it going? Just trying to make everything light, disarm everyone because I think you're a homeowner. It's can be a little daunting. Tons of paperwork to sign. It feels a little stressful. So I go in, I lighten the load, and I look over in the corner, and there's a guy sitting there like this, and that's Big Brother, like legit Big Brother. They're looking to make sure his little sister is being taken care of and understands the process because he's bought a house before. So we we start talking, and I'm like, everything goes great, and still don't quite have trust from everybody yet. Like this was 2005, and so anyway, I'm like, you all want to go grab a drink, get something to eat after this. Like, let's just continue the conversation. Let's talk. So we get to the restaurant, John, to eat. And we walk in and we sit down and I don't know, 10 minutes in, the four-letter word comes up, GOLF. And the homeowners, they pretty much exited the conversation. So myself and Big Brother, we talked the rest of the time, the entire time about golf. The next thing that I know, it was in December, the end of December. And we had some unusually like warm weather during that time frame. The same weekend, well, I should say the following weekend, right after Christmas, I'm at Northwest Park playing golf, greeted with some donuts and coffee in the morning. And for 3 straight years, every Saturday, a group of us played golf together. And so just thinking about, and I say 3 years because I had children after that. And I remember the death stare that my wife gave me the first time I walked in and asked her how her day was going after she was changing diapers. And I was like, you know what? I shouldn't play on Saturdays anymore.
Yep.
But I tell that story just because, like, in my world, there are certain things that are super important, and I've created some amazing relationships through, which are home ownership and golf. I do want to, and I'll tell you this again, I'm very proud of what you've accomplished. I have some stories about how I've seen you and first met you, and how we've come through. But welcome to Lending with Purpose, John. I'll ask you to tell us who you are, what you do, and then you're going to introduce some special guests that we have here. They're waiting patiently in the broadcast room. We'll bring them in after you tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I guess who I am, it's always interesting trying to sum up yourself in a brief sentence or two. But I'm John Holiday. Went to Towson for undergrad and went to University of Maryland, College Park for grad. And currently I work as an account manager in the digital media space for Adobe. So I've been in tech sales for about 5 years now. And in the meantime, I'm just trying to keep my golf game intact and hanging out with my girlfriend when just exploring DC and things like that. So yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell, I would say.
You said it in a nutshell. All right, you're being too humble. Let's see. So, who do we have? We're here today to talk about fighting student loan debt and creating access to golf. So, before you introduce Hope and Rab, and we bring them into the stream here, uh,
Yeah.
give us an idea of how you met them, the two of them, and why is fighting student loan debt and creating access to golf for underserved important to you.
Yeah. So I played 4 years of Division One golf for Towson University. So starting March 2022, I launched a collegiate golf scholarship focused around helping and supporting minorities who are also playing college golf. And so I met them through that. They had just been two people that applied, and I made sure to do some outreach myself and try to get to know the finalists, and eventually when there are two of the four winners. Just slowly build a relationship over time, and Raya being closer and at Towson, a little easier for me to hang out with her, as well as Kendall Campbell, who's not here today, who also is at Towson, and then Kendall Jackson, who's the fourth one, who's at Howard University. And so, yeah. And here's Hope and Ray. Awesome.
So welcome Hope and he called you Ray, but I'm gonna say
Yeah,
Rab.
Yes, please call me
I know
Ray.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna call you Ray. So welcome. Why don't let's start with Ray. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Um, if you do your best to tell us who and what. Don't start with the what. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but who and what. And yeah.
So my name is Rayab Lee. I am a sophomore on the Towson University women's golf team. I'm majoring in computer science, and my hobbies include I like fishing and shopping. So that's it.
It's pretty extreme right there. So fishing and shopping.
Yeah, two different ends of the spectrum.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And so welcome, nice to meet you. Congratulations as well. Um, Hope, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Hi, I'm Hope. I'm a freshman on the Dartmouth women's golf team. Um, I'm studying biomedical engineering, and my hobbies are reading and listening to music. Yeah.
You just threw me a softball. I'm not even gonna ask you what kind of music you listen to.
All good
Um,
music.
you said all good music. It's a good thing, and both of you are pretty good golfers, I'm assuming. And so, like, tell us a little bit about uh, how do you manage? Because you have to have a certain level of commitment to be good at golf. I mean, that's right, John. I remember watching your father drop you off, and
Yeah.
I'd take a lesson or something like that. And I remember once I forgot a club, and I drove all the way home. I came back, and you were still up there pounding golf balls. And the next thing I know, I see you go and walking over to the putting green and you're chipping and putting and stuff like that. And so that takes a tremendous amount of time to get good, but you also have to put a lot of effort into staying and keeping your skills sharp. Both of you are in two really good academic schools as well that demand you to be great in school also. So uh, uh, we'll start with Hope. Tell us a little bit about that. Like how do you manage your time um, to be able to continue to play golf and but also do well in school?
Um, so first thing was my like class schedule. So basically the way I set my class schedule up was my classes are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, and I don't have any classes Tuesday, Thursday. Dartmouth scheduling is pretty nice like that because since we only take three classes a term and we have three terms a year, it's a lot easier to like make sure all your classes are on one day. Um, So a lot of times I do all my homework Thursday and Tuesday mornings, and that leaves like afternoons free for golf. And then also practice is usually like right after my last class to like, so that's like 2 to like 6 or 7. And then I just usually do my homework after that. And because my classes start so late, I can also do them in the morning. So I made sure in my schedule that I had like a lot of time to get all my work done in a way where it didn't feel like too stressful, or like I wasn't ever scrambling for time. Yeah.
Thank you. And then Ray, same question for you.
Yeah, so I have classes Monday through Friday, roughly around 2 classes per day. But after my last class, which ends roughly around like 1:55ish, I'll go out to the course with my team, and then we'll practice for a few hours. After that, I'll study. But I started golf at a pretty late age in comparison to other girls. So, like me personally, I feel like I have to practice a little bit more. So sometimes even in the mornings, like my class starts at 9:30 or 10:30 sometimes. So before that, I'll wake up at like 6:30, and then I'll hit a few balls, like go out to the course, which is like 10 minutes away. Hit a few balls and, make a few putts, and then I'll go straight to the class. So that's just
Thanks
like
for
my weekly schedule. Yeah.
Wow, that's a big schedule. Again, I applaud the both of you for that. John, does that sound about right? Is that about what you did, or no? You're so naturally gifted. You hit so many golf balls before you got there. You didn't have to practice much, right?
First of all, it was never natural for me. We're out here trying to figure it out. I would say that was about right. I feel like my college experience was a little different because I had back problems early, so I had to see the physical therapist pretty often at Towson, where I was like really tight with like everybody in physical therapy. But that was probably the only difference compared to everything else. And then extracurriculars too, squeezing that in. But for me, that didn't start until like sophomore year, where I really picked up on other stuff. So yeah.
Understood. So let's talk about the student loan debt because we all think a lot of times with athletics, everyone gets a free ride. There's everything's taken care of. There's no money that's involved with coming out of pocket. We talk about home ownership earlier. I see it all the time where folks are coming out of school with student loan debt, and it potentially affects their ability to purchase and affordability, or just whatever it might be. But talk about the student loan piece first, and why that was a problem that you were looking to solve, John, and then how that came about with the collegiate golf scholarship fund that you have.
So I have a long answer to that. I'll try to keep it short. So a couple things, right? One, I was definitely blessed enough to have parents who were in a, doing really well in life and whatnot, and were able to help me with my student loans. A reason why I even included like the financial literacy aspect to the scholarships, because I often got the question, like when I said, "Oh yeah, I have student loans," like my friends would be like, "You have student loans? Like, how do you have student loans? You play golf?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, no one really gets a full ride. Like, the full rides are very uncommon. Where I think it's like less than 2% of student athletes playing sports get a full ride or something like that. I saw a stat a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I just thought, one, since a lot of students don't get full rides, it's important to try to pitch in and give back. When I graduated, I lived at home for first 2 years. Yeah, so for 2 years, and I was in sales, so I was just really motivated to just make good money, pay off all my student debt, and then work towards other things like home ownership, like we talked about a little earlier, and other things, investing and whatnot. And so that's definitely where that came from. I think I'm just very motivated to try to help where I can, especially since my parents helped me along the way. And yeah, I would say that pretty much where it came from. So,
And Ray, how did you find this scholarship opportunity?
So it just popped up on my Instagram, and I decided to apply.
And what was the application process like? And how'd you feel when you were awarded?
It was amazing. Like, this is my second scholarship that I've ever applied for, and it was a nice feeling to know that he selected me as a winner. So I felt really amazing after earning it. Yeah.
Winning, earning, same.
Same
No,
thing.
is that all right? And
And
Hope, how about you, Hope? Like, let's talk. What was the process like? And how'd you feel?
Okay, so I found it on bold.org, which is like the scholarship website. They have like lists of like a bunch of scholarships, and I was applying to a lot of them. And that one really caught my eye, especially after learning he's from Towson, because I'm from Baltimore, just outside, and like a lot of my family lives in Towson. So um, uh, writing the application was really nice. I think it was one of the ones that I genuinely enjoyed writing and applying for, and just talking to him like felt really great because he like really understood. I felt like, um, and it was really great just knowing someone who spent like an extended amount of time in like Towson in that area of Maryland. Um, and I felt really good after winning it because I was so excited to have won a scholarship and to just like ease like the burden of tuition a little bit.
Thank you, thank you. And so John, so far you've awarded 4
Yeah, yeah,
scholarships. Is that right? And I think they're about $1,800 each. Is that about right?
yeah, yep.
So what is that? That's almost ten thousand
7,200.
dollars. Yeah,
Yeah,
I rounded. I always round up.
that's
So
it's fine. Yeah, so it don't matter. Yeah.
yeah, how does that feel, man? Like to be able to give that much money. That's $7,200 that you've been able to help students with. Like how's that feel?
So, well, first off, it's still wild to me, right? And we're making goals for next year. Like next year, my goal is 10,000 total for 5 winners. So when I launched this, I don't think I even told Ray and Hope this, but when I launched it with $1,000 of my own money. So I didn't think there was going to be donations. Like I was just like, let's just figure it out. Like we're going to start with 1,000, go from there. And then like just looking back, that my company matches any dollar I put in up to about $10,000. And so I got that match from them, and then just naturally people had donated just from spreading the word. And it's still like a pinch me moment because I'm like, $7,200 year one. Like that's not. It didn't cross my mind that was even possible. Like I thought maybe at least 2,000 because my company would match, what I put in. And so it's very surreal, honestly. And now I have the Instagram page, and I get different follows from different people, and I can just tell it's continuing to grow. So it's pretty amazing. Definitely not what I had imagined back in March when I launched this, but definitely be excited to see where it goes next year.
So let's do a little teaching. So John, I want to set up a golf scholarship, for instance. You all, if we were in a foursome playing like a scramble or something, I promise you'd be carrying the team, the 3 of you. I'd be good for a couple putts inside of 10 foot.
Yeah.
So all day long you'd be carrying me. But tell me how to start a golf scholarship. So we're on, walking off the green, and we having a conversation. Tell me, for the next few holes, how to start this scholarship fund like you've done. What'd you do?
So honestly, Bold kept it super easy. Honestly, this is probably the most like seamless process I could have imagined for a scholarship. So how my process was, I was just Googling one day. So I had 6 weeks in between jobs, and I took that time trying to figure out, what I want to do, how I want to help and give back and just like reflect. And so I had just Googled like creating a scholarship. Like literally I'm just creating a scholarship. And so I found Bold pretty quickly. And I think from reaching out to actually setting up, it took me only 2 weeks. And so just go on the website, you submit, like, you want to create a scholarship. They ask you for a proposal. You submit that proposal, then they'll set up a meeting with you to go over it and add in different things, right? So what do you want to look like? What type of student are you trying to target? How much you're starting off with? Things like that. And then you can launch it. And so literally from reaching out to them to actually launching it, it was 2 weeks. And the review of that was the majority of it, but I had an initial proposal, and then I made an edit, and we went from there. And so, yeah, I still work with them. Ashley, woman named Ashley, is my main point of contact. She hears me probably a little too much. I'm always trying to find new ways to grow this and to edit it and to make sure I'm reaching as many people as possible. So yeah, the process was pretty easy like that. And once it's launched, you can't really edit the details of it or anything like that. You would have to do that after the award is given. But I was able to edit how many winners and increase the amount. So initially, like I said, it started off 1,000. It ended up being 4 winners for 7,200 total. Initially, it was 1,000 for 1 winner. So they're able to make those edits along the way and whatnot. Just a matter of reaching out, and then within a couple of days, it would be edited on the website. So.
Understood. And that's bold.org, right?
Bold.org, yep.
Got it. And then what's your selection process? Like, what was the criteria? How did you get Ray, Hope, and there was someone else you mentioned the name?
Yeah, Ray, Hope, Kendall, and Kendall. 2 different spellings of Kendalls.
Kendall squared?
Kendall squared.
Okay.
Which wasn't on purpose. I don't know how that actually ended up happening. But, oh, God, honestly, this is probably the hardest thing I've had to do. Just because there were so many. I had a solid top 7. And so I was just going back and forth. And eventually I had to just make sure, like, okay, I need to create like a board, like people outside of me, and I don't want to be biased and only select the, people who are closest to me and whatnot. And so I had one of my good friends, Carlo, who plays, he's a senior at Loyola. He was really helpful with looking into all of their essays. So I feel like he knows all of them just as much as me, because he's read all their essays over and over again, and doing research on like what type of people they are and things like that. My friend mentor, Mary Hennigan, she helped me as well looking into that. My parents helped me. My girlfriend helped me, Tarina, in regards to just, really trying to see who everyone picks and have like a consensus somewhat. So yeah, I just created a board and came up with some people who were playing collegiate golf, and also my guys that you would know too, guys from Woodmore, guys from Glendale, had them give them their input as well. And yeah, that's how we picked. So I needed people outside of me, so that I got a bigger scope of and seeing things from every angle, every aspect. So yeah.
Got it. That's awesome. It's, I'm sure it was daunting for you. And then when you said I had a solid 7, and it's like you're thinking like, man, I got to get more money because I have to get money to these other 3 people, right?
Right. That's literally I was thinking, but then I had to realize, like, all right, everyone can't win, because if I have a solid 10 next year, what am I going to do? And I also wanted to come up with a number where I didn't want it to just be, all right, everyone gets $500. I'm like, what would actually be significant enough? Which I feel like 2,000 per winner would be significant enough. I definitely felt like 1,000 isn't enough, but that's why I also added, NIL stuff to it, where I can add in more value outside of just scholarship money. So yeah.
Understood. We'll get into the NIL in a little bit. So Ray, as a minority, there weren't always the resources available, specifically for golf. And so, like, tell us, I know you said you got started late because you were fishing so much and shopping before you started golf. But like, tell us your story. Like, how'd you get into golf? What were some of the sort of challenges or obstacles that you've had to face, and then talk about some success stories and how you maybe have overcome them. So yeah, that's the question I'd like to ask you.
Okay, so I'm a military brat. My dad, he was in the military for 21 years, so I've been stationed everywhere, including Okinawa, Japan, and that's where I originally picked up my first golf club back when I was in 6th grade. But I would just use, my dad's putter, and we would just, bond over that. And then when I moved back to the States in 7th grade, I stopped golfing altogether because my dad, he moved to Saudi Arabia. He was stationed there, and then he retired and came back 8th grade, and that's when I got my first lesson. And then after that, I just took off. I was a cheerleader my whole life, and I did a little bit of track and field. But I decided to put all that aside and focus primarily on golf in high school. And so yeah, I moved to Florida, then Virginia. Went to 3 different high schools in Virginia, and was MVP on all 3 co-ed teams. I was on co-captain. I was co-captain on 2 of them. I placed 6 out of like 80 girls my sophomore year, and I think I shot like 70 at the time. And after that, I won a few tournaments, like some at Disney. I won a few Peggy Kirk Bell tournaments, which is like kind of the Southern East Coast golf tour for junior golfers. And then afterwards, I committed to Towson, and when I got to Towson, my first tournament, I shot 76, 73, 79. So it was a nice first tournament as a freshman. But yeah, that's my story. I got started late, but I feel like since I got started late, like all the other girls on my team, they started between 4 years old and 8 years old. I feel like I can learn a lot from them, and I feel like I have like a lot more growing to do, and it just pushes me. So.
Sounds good. And then what about like that? So the military background and the structure that you may have received, but also the experiences with deep people from all walks of life, different backgrounds and such. Did that help you much at all, like in regards to your mindset?
Oh, 100%. My dad, he was a lieutenant. He's a retired lieutenant colonel now. So I've always had, structure in my life. He would make me get up like literally 6, 7 a.m. and start golfing. And at first, I didn't want to even start golfing. But after he provided structure, I was like, okay, like I know what it means now to work hard towards something and to be consistent. So shout out to Anthony Lee for that, my dad. But yeah, I've met so many people in my life in just all walks of life. And I feel like that has definitely had an impact on who I am, and as well as how I interact with people as well.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Hope, hope. What was your aha moment where you're like, I got it?
That's a really good question. I think I would say so. Like my maybe like aha moment for like for letting me know that I could play college golf was
Yes.
probably if I'm being honest, like the day that I committed, um, like literally not even until then, and like not even I had a match that day, and I played well for the first few holes. I was 2 under. I was just talking to my dad about this earlier today, but I was like 2 under for this. It was like a minor match. And then like on the last 3 holes, I like fell apart, and so I was really, really upset in the car because I had played well all summer. And then this was like the first match of my senior season, and I was really upset that it like started out like this. And then I got a call from the Dartmouth coach, and he made me an offer. And like that moment was when I figured I could play college golf. Like, before that, obviously I wanted to, and I always was like, oh, well, maybe I could play here, maybe I could play here, like. But when I like actually finally got like that offer, I think that was like really like the aha moment where I figured I could play golf, which is kind
Oh
of
wow.
in the game. But
Wow. So not until you actually committed to college where you were just like, I'm here, I've arrived. So I have a little bit of a follow up question. And if it's a tough question, you don't want to answer it, can't answer it, or uh, don't think it's appropriate, it's fine. But like, is imposter syndrome, for instance, is that like a real thing? Um, does that make sense? What I'm asking, like, where you're questioning yourself, should I be here? Have I done enough? Um, that kind of thing. Like, because for you, you told us your major. We know the school you go to. You mentioned also that you didn't really know you'd made it until you actually committed to school. But like when you look around, there's probably not a lot of girls and young ladies. I would assume that look like you that are playing golf. Um, do you ever like really or before even get caught up into that?
Definitely. I think it's just so easy to get caught up into that. Like especially so I live in South Florida. I used to live in South Africa, and then when we moved back to the States, my parents wanted somewhere that I could really focus on golf. And because Florida has such good weather and such good courses, we decided on like South Florida. And South Florida is like the golf capital of the world. Everybody there is so good. I've got some of my best friends there, and they're all amazing golfers. And it's really easy, like especially when you're in like a slump, to feel like, oh, I should not be playing this. I don't. This is like a fluke. Like I shouldn't even be with like all these other people. I think it's really really easy. And I've been playing for a really long time. I've been playing since I was maybe 3. Um, and it's still really easy to fall into that. Um, but I think something that like helps me get out of it is, so like I said, my friends, they're always super supportive and they're always really helpful. So if I'm ever like um, feeling like I don't really shouldn't be playing golf, don't belong on like a college team, um, they're always really like there for me to talk to and to be like, they're always like, okay, can you be serious for a little bit and think about it? Like your coach wouldn't have just like been like, oh, well, you're nice, so yeah, sure, join the team. Like you're there because you belong there. So having people there telling you, please look at it from someone else's perspective. Like, don't just look at like you. Like, yeah, you didn't like the shot, but the shot is 10 feet from the pin. I think you can get over it. Just having people like that is really important. Yeah, so I think it's really easy to fall into imposter syndrome, especially like the Ivy League, and just like up here. I feel like there's not that many Black female golfers. I know there's not in the Ivy League. As of right now, I don't think there's a guy. I think he plays for Cornell, but women, I don't think there is. But the first college tournament that I played in, I was the only Black person there, and I was like, oh, this is crazy, because even in South Florida, where there's not that many Black people, there's always somebody. There's always somebody, even if it's just my sister. So to be at this tournament where there's no other Black people, I was like, okay. So it's definitely really easy to fall into like imposter syndrome when there's nobody else who looks like you. But I think I have people who help me, and I think that's really important.
Right, right. That's awesome. And I'm sure there was a bunch of pressure on you too as well. But then you look around and you're just like, I'm here, and it's go time. And I'll take that 10-foot putt all day long, definitely. So the next time you stick it and you don't think it's close enough, shoot me a text, and I promise you I'll help you feel better about that approach shot.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So John, we're gonna wrap up in just a bit, but creating access to golf, like what was that thing for you? Like why do you want to create access to golf? I told the story at the beginning about relationships, and we know a lot of the same people. John, I remember I recall reaching out to you this year to get your advice on high school, because you went to the high school that my son attends, right? And so honestly speaking, I don't think we would have ever met if it weren't for golf. Because I saw you when you were younger. We bumped into each other at the golf club quite a bit. Jamar, who was our intern, y'all golfed together quite a bit. And I got to know you a little bit better through him. But But like, let's talk about creating access to golf, because I know for me, I'm definitely not as good as you all. I can hold my own, and I play pretty fast. So no matter how many times I swing the club, it'll be fine. But um, but I know anything like that I've ever achieved in my life significantly has come from a relationship, but golf's been a big part of that. So John, let's talk about creating access to golf. Your thoughts around that and why it's important to you.
Oh man. I you know, I don't know why this year was the year I was like where I was like, I'm definitely gonna do something and I gotta figure out what. But well actually I think it's gotta be around the fact that I just had time to reflect. And I think I think that I had a lot of challenges in college, and I was constantly trying to figure out who I was as a person. And I think a lot of that was focused around being a minority in collegiate golf. And so, as you were mentioning, you know, Jamar, there's a big group of us from first tee and whatnot that we still talk in group chats consistently. And I think without that network, I probably would have felt more lost than I already did. And so, having something like this, you know, through this scholarship where there's 4 winners, where I could talk to them about what my experience was like, and they could talk to me about, you know, stuff they're experiencing, and realize there's actually more similarities than you can imagine. I just thought that's what was missing from my college experience, having someone who had already done it that I could talk to and hit up whenever and could play golf with and just pick their mind about, hey, like, so what was your transition like post college? You know, I had a tough time. I don't really talk about it much, but my first year out of college, like, I was like, so what do I do now? Because I was so used to, you know, going to practice and whatnot. And I think that summer after college, I played like 3 times the whole summer. And I'd gone from playing, you know, if I got 1 day off in a week, it was like, you know, that was the best thing ever, because we were used to playing every single day. And so I would say that's why it's important for me just to start that early. And, you know, with Ray being a sophomore and Hope being a freshman, and the other 2, Kendall is also being 1 freshman, 1 sophomore. It's just good to start relationships like that early. That way, you know, when the time comes, even when they graduate, if they decide I want to play pro golf, or they decide I don't want to play pro golf, I want to do something else, you know, I might have some insight. Or, you know, I have friends who you also know too that are playing pro golf. So, you know, there's a network there as well. So that's what I would say. That's why it's important to me.
That's awesome. I remember being in high school in the layup line in basketball, and some of the on our basketball team, there were a few kids that were golfers. John, Ray, Hope, we would give them the blues. Like, you guys don't play a real sport. Golf this, golf that. And
Yeah.
And I remember when I got into sales, you mentioned sales, the sport of choice, the activity of choice was golf. And so take a wild guess who were the first people I started to call when I got into golf. And guess who was getting it on the backside? Like, they would you remember when we were growing up and how you used to tease us, and now you're calling me to ask me to teach you how to play golf and to show you how to play golf? And it's just really amazing. And I wish, I mean, you know, I don't have a bunch of regrets in life, but like, in hindsight, to be able to get that head start, like Hope mentioned, she's been playing since she was like 3 years old. Ray mentioned the 7th grade. You know, John, you've been playing, I think you're probably like 12 years old or something when I first met you, 12, 13. And I'm sure you've been playing for a long time. You all don't understand how proud we are to see you, your generation, specifically John. And I know you've heard this before, but to watch your 4, like I call you the 4 horsemen, the group of 4 of your foursome that played all the time, and 5th, including Jamar sometimes, for us, you know, the older guys, to sit there and watch you, because we admire that. Not to say we're jealous or envious of it, but it's like, wow, like, this is awesome. Like, how cool would it have been for us to have a group of guys that play golf together, to get these experiences? And you make so many bonds in life through golf that just aren't broken. And so I want to give all three of you on the call, and when I one day get a chance to speak with Kendall and Kendall, the same. But we're very proud of you, because you're in a space where there aren't a tremendous amount of resources. Well, they're getting there, but they weren't a lot of resources and opportunities for people of color to enter the play. And so and we're often intimidated by playing it. There's some financial constraints behind it as well. And so, John, what you're doing is awesome to be able to help these two young ladies with their education, but also uplift the fact that this is a sport that we can compete in and that we should be playing. And so, I want to congratulate the three of you on this. My last question. It's a quick yes or no question for Ray and Hope. Are y'all going to buy houses one day? Do you still believe in home ownership?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. My parents always talk about it, so I definitely
All right, cool. That's good to know. I won't. That'll be a whole nother conversation. We'll bring you back in and talk about why it's important and all that good stuff. But we appreciate you today. So if you don't mind, I'm going to Hope and Ray. I'm going to let you go. I'll wrap up with John. But congratulations to both of you. Just keep on pressing on. And for us, if you need anything whatsoever, don't hesitate to reach out in any way.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for joining, y'all.
Thanks for joining. Hey, John, that was great, man. Tell us what you need. How can we help you? And then also, how do we connect with the Collegiate Golf Scholarship Fund?
Yeah, so Collegiate Golf Scholarship Fund, it's through bold.org. And so I know it's a long link, but essentially I've been telling people too, if they want to just look up the Holiday Collegiate Golf Scholarship Fund, it'll be the first or second link that pops up. I think the first link is the scholarship and then the other one's the fund, but the fund runs year round and the scholarship's going to be, I'm targeting January to launch for 2023. So that's my goal, which is crazy. We're already about to be in year 2 in 2 months, but and then help. I mean, just continuing to get the word out. I'm just trying to find. Yes, thank you for the link. I'm just trying to find new ways to break barriers down and to help people who are currently in minority golfers who are currently in that space. And I had my 4 years, and so I want to make sure it's about them and make sure they feel like they have the support that I may have felt that I was lacking at times. So. Yeah, I'd rather get to it before it's years down the road, and then they realize, oh man, well, I wish I had this, during my college experience. And I feel like that's where I was, where I realized that years later. So, yeah, that's really how you can help, I would say.
Okay. No, thanks for that. So we'll wrap up. So John, you get one person, one question. Who would it be, and what would you ask?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. I would say it probably would be between either Steph Curry or Tiger at this point. And I would just love to hear what they feel like the barriers are to continuing diversifying the game of golf and collegiate golf, and how can people help making sure that mission continues to grow. And so, yeah, I guess that would be my question. And from there, figuring out, what I can add to my scholarship that may or may not be missing. So,
yeah. So you'd say, let me hold something, kinfolk.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn,
When you said Steph Curry, I know the story, but it didn't really dawn on me like, oh wow, yeah, he's sponsored Howard University's golf program.
Yeah. Which Kendall plays for.
Yeah, and he's a really good golfer as well.
Yeah, and then he created the underrated golf tour that Hope played for junior golf last year. So
really,
yeah, wow. So he's plugged in. He's plugged in for sure.
And Tiger's really quiet. Some of the things that's going on with him that you know of behind the scenes or just out front? Because I know he's got foundations and
Wait,
such
say that
too as
again.
well. Can you hear?
It
You
was kind
can't
of
hear
cutting
me?
out. Say that again.
Oh no, I said
Yeah.
Tiger's a little quiet, and sort of very private. But I know
Right.
he's doing a ton of stuff for golf and specifically the underserved. Like, what are some of the things that's going on in Tiger's world?
Yeah, I know he does a lot of stuff with the TGR. I think TGR is his main foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it even stands for, but I know he just created a junior golf invitational that's at Pebble Beach. I don't believe it's on their main course, but it's on their facilities, and I believe he
Mm-hmm.
just hosted it like a month or two ago. So I know that's one main thing. Also for similar golfers who aren't constantly in the limelight and just underrated, quote unquote. They don't get that big time, spotlight all the time. So I know that's a big thing that he's focused on as well right now.
Got it. So I'm putting out a challenge. My force.
Cut out again. I can't hear you. Yeah.
How about now?
Yes. Yeah. Good. Perfect.
Yeah. So no, I said I want to put out a challenge to everyone that's been watching and listening to this today. My foursome, the same foursome that we had on there, including myself, against anyone that wants to golf, and we're gonna do that for some who are they collegiate golf scholarship dollars or something like that.
I mean, I'm all for it. I might have to, practice a little bit, get the draw intact a little bit, but I'm all for it.
We're gonna have to play like some alternate shot or best ball or something like that. But I won't hold you back. I'll contribute a little bit, but I need you. I need you to play your best games, though.
See, that's pressure. So I will be practicing for doing this.
Well, yeah, John. Thanks for your time. As I tell everybody, it'd be such a shame for me to have the relationships and resources like yourself and not share it with the network. Anyone, if there's anything that we can do to help in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Continue to stay as safe and as healthy as possible. And we'll be back here next week. John, I'll ask you to hang on with me for a couple more minutes, but yeah, we'll be back next week. And thank you so much for your time, as well as bringing Hope and Ray on today to speak with us. I thought that was a brilliant idea, and thanks for getting them to work with us today.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you just always providing me a space to just continue to get the word out and just pick your brain about different things that I'm thinking about. So appreciate you as well.
Absolutely. Everyone have a great day.